Welcome, my dear ones. I would like to speak with you today about the thing, the experience, the something that you would like to have in your life that you don't yet have. The thing that you haven't yet even decided belongs to or with you. And perhaps there are some blockages, some things resisting this experience that you may not even be aware of yet. And I'd like to speak to those today. Because you see, along the way, I've learned some things and I've heard some things be taught to me. And that's how I've learned some of the lessons and some of the knowledge that I have. But much of the knowledge that I have to share, the wisdom that I have to share, has come from experience and going through the processes and thankfully receiving revelation from life, just in the process of living. And so I get to share with the people who are going to come to this message because it's being made for you. And I share that partly because that is one of the things that you need to understand, is that to create a thing, to have a thing, an experience, an emotion, a relationship, something different that you don't yet have, you have to understand some things. You have to believe and trust some things without having yet had the experience. That is lesson number one. And the next belief, the next understanding that you have to shift is believing that the thing exists, that it's even possible for it to exist. I know that for myself, I wanted, I craved, I desired a relationship with a good man. But the problem was, every message that I had ever heard from the world around me, from the relationships I was already in, whether it was with men or women, every relationship that I had with the culture and society around me, every message that I was receiving said there is no such thing, that men only want one thing. And it's not the same as what I as a woman want. So guess what? I couldn't find the thing that I wanted because I didn't believe it existed. I couldn't see it if it was right in front of my face. And I didn't even realize the difference between my desire and my belief. I didn't realize the discrepancy because I was so ingrained to believe a certain thing. And, by the way, to desire a certain thing which was different from what I was taught existed. So guess what? That resulted in always this lack. This thing, I want this thing that doesn't exist. Therefore, I can never have the thing. Excuse me. How does this impact you? Where do you find yourself desiring, longing for a thing that you actually don't even believe exists or it doesn't exist in your reality, in your world. It's not available to you. And therefore, you're stuck actually in this cycle of longing for the thing that you cannot have. Lesson number 2 and lesson number 3. You have to get rid of that belief. Switch it up. That is not a capital T truth. Just because you haven't had the experience of the thing, the state of being, the relationship, the emotion, whatever that is, however it is that you identify it, is that a capital T truth that it doesn't exist and it doesn't exist for you? Just because it hasn't in the past, does that mean it can't in the future? Does that mean it's even true? What kind of truth is that? And my guess is, in most cases, it's merely a belief. It's a conditioning, it's a programming, it's a training that you've agreed to believe. And you can change that. You can choose to believe something different. I choose to believe that wonderful, gracious men exist, that we are all human beings doing our best, and we're following our programming, and we can change our programming. We can change our experience. And I choose to believe that there are fantastic, heart-centered, respectful, whole men who are living their lives trying to break free of the programming that they've been living out. And I believe that I can be a part of their freedom. And I believe that I can come into partnership with wonderful, heart-centered human beings, some of whom are men. I believe that the men that I choose to be in relationship with, whatever form of relationship that is, are the best men. And I believe that they exist. And as I allow that experience, that belief to be true, I experience this more and more and more in my life. So that's one big nugget, I hope, and an example. And I encourage you to consider where in your life this is true for you. That you can change your belief that a thing exists and it's possible and it's available to you. And you are the one who has to change in order to experience the thing that you want to experience. You have to change your belief and your identity. You also have to establish the environment, the energy. You see, because that's one of the things that happened, is that I had inside myself this environment that says, oh, I want this thing so badly, and it doesn't exist. I can't have it. It doesn't exist, so I will never have it. I want it. I can't have it. I want it. I can't have it. Well, baloney. But you see how that was the energy that I was holding. This, people call it lack mentality. And I had to change. As I changed my beliefs, my energy also changed. And I could attract, I could allow, I could experience what already existed, but I hadn't yet been able to see that it existed. And I had a repelling kind of energy because, when something doesn't believe, when you don't believe that something exists, even if it exists, it's not welcome, it's not invited in, it can't be seen. And so it's repelled by our own energy, by our own way of being and believing. I hear people say often, I just want to be deeply seen. And if we can't imagine being deeply seen, then it's all the harder for us to show up because we've already established the belief that we can't be seen, that we're not seen, we're not appreciated. And if that's our belief, then that is what we are most likely to perceive. And so, for example, how is it that I can come to the place where I actually am going to sit down and show up on this camera and record this message and put it out on YouTube and into the world, which is frankly kind of scary, especially with AI and technology able to do what it can do, because there is no more hiding. I can't hide and be seen. You can't hide and be seen. You can't not trust and have the experience that you desire. So, yes, there is an external component, but there's also the how do we show up? And what do we believe is true? And what do we believe is the experience that we are going to have? What are we creating by the way that we show up and the energy that we show up in? And have we learned to trust ourselves? Do we have the capacity? Can we improve and increase the capacity to trust and have faith and to show up? And understand that we may not be seen always in the way that we would like. And we will be seen by people that we would prefer not to come into relationship with. But the way that we're going to come into relationship with the people who are going to love us and cherish us is by allowing ourselves to be seen and believing and trusting that those people, those experiences, those values exist. And that by glowing in our own brilliance, in our own love and light, that we will be drawn to one another because we do exist. And we have to believe it. We have to believe it so that we can hold that energy and allow it to be felt and experienced by others so that we can be drawn to one another. And the more that we do this, the more we are seen and the more others see us and the more we are encouraged and the more we can expand and the more practice that we have. And by practice, what I want you to understand, and this is another, I don't know what number I'm on, but another lesson, another idea, concept that I want you to grasp. Practice, this idea of practice. As a singer, as a classically trained singer and a teacher, how I've learned to explain practice is not just repetition. Practice makes perfect. That's not true. But practice with the intent of improvement is the goal. Repetition with the intention of improvement is practice. Not just repetition, but with awareness and evaluation, not for judgment, but for evaluation. Repetition for the intention of improvement. of creating something more, creating something new, creating a new standard from which to take the next step. Yes. And in this way, we expand ourselves. And in this way, we get to have a new experience. And in this way, life continues to increase and expand. And in this way, we become more and more, and it's natural and it doesn't have to be painful, although sometimes it may be, because here's the next little nugget, because there has to be an identity change. Oof. We cannot stay the same and have a new experience. We have to become and step into and embrace a new energy, a new identity. And with that is a new belonging. Everyone wants to belong. And we create in our mind an identity and a belonging that goes along with that identity. And in my case, I'm not sure what yours is, but in my case, I know that right now I have a part-time job that I don't enjoy it because it limits my identity. But my identity is still that I'm a person that has this part-time job. And what I really desire my identity to be completely, I want to be able to release that identity and fully embrace and embody and experience the identity that is as a teacher and a coach and a life guide. And as a friend dubbed me recently, personal assistant to the universe. Yes, this is my identity. And a person can, the person for whom it's the right thing, they can be in this part-time job or a full-time job, in whatever the identity is, if it is fulfilling and complete for you. By all means, embrace it. But if you desire change and more and something different, and if your heart is saying this thing is not the fulfillment of my being, I don't belong here, then we have to change these other things. And we get to practice. Repeat with the intention of improving. Small incremental improvements change everything. Changing our awareness of what can be. All right, I'm looking at my notes. I know, watch me look down, and I'm just going to bring you into this with me. Because, my friend, the next thing is you have to switch your words. Be aware of your words. Be aware of the environment, the energy that you create by the words that you choose to use about yourself, about the world around you, the words that you repeat, the words that you even pay attention to. Because guess what? Anymore, when I hear people talk about men and badmouth men as a as a big old clump, and they lump them all together and basically say all men are blah blah blah. I'm like, anymore, that's kind of what I choose to hear is blah blah blah. And I prefer not to hear that. So I will extricate, I will remove myself from that environment, from that situation, because I no longer believe that. That is not my world. I do not belong there. That is not my identity. I do not believe it is true. And so I no longer participate. I choose my words, the ones that come out of my mouth. And when words come out of my mouth that I recognize are going in a direction where I no longer belong, I change them. So choose your words, including this one. Be sure. that you are saying to yourself, not any kinds of negative statements. And I'm not going to repeat them right now because I'm going to trust that your sensitivity is going to rise and you're going to recognize your own conditioning, your own programmed words and beliefs. Because I want you to believe everything is always working out for me. Everything is always coming together for my good. I trust the world. I trust who I am. Everything is always working out for me. People are good. People are doing the best they know how. I don't understand how this is all going to work out, and I don't have to. I don't have to control everything in order to be okay. Oh, there are so many more things to say that I desire to teach you, that I desire to repeat with the intention of improving. And this is complete for today. I love you. Please put a comment down there what you're taking away from today. Repeat for yourself. Put it into words and share that in this moment. Repeat it, put it into words so that you can understand and share it into the world to repeat and reflect back to others to help them with their learning and their understanding. And this is how we grow our community. This is how we identify and share our world with one another. We share ourselves with one another. We identify our tribe. And we spread the love. Wishing you all of the best. And I can't wait to hear from you. I hope you already subscribed and liked the video. I know all the corny stuff, right? But please, do the things. Share the light. Change your identity. I am a person who loves. Yes, yes, you are. I love you, my dear one. I look forward to talking with you soon. Namaste.